Alright, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay. Alright, so this is chapter conflict and negotiation. This is the last chapter for OB. Okay. So this one can be related into the final assessment assignment, your final assessment a lot. Okay. Okay. Okay, what is no conflict? Conflict is actually a process that begin when one individual they have some sort of negative opinion about the other person. Okay, so sometimes having a negative thoughts about other person as well, or negative something about situation and also that kind of thing, it's actually a conflict. Okay. Alright, so within the conflict we have functional conflict and also dysfunctional conflicts. The functional conflict is actually going to support a company. Conflict not necessarily all negative. Sometimes conflict also is actually good for the company to actually support the goal of the company, support the goal of the group or your team. Okay, but there is a dysfunctional conflict that will lower down the company performance. Okay, we go first with types of conflict. Okay, we have process, task, and relationship. Okay, so basically when it comes to conflict on tasks, talking about conflict that actually happen when the company have when employees have problem with their work task lah. For example, like I'm doing administration, so the other doing finance, so there is a conflict in between tasks. Okay. Number 2 is relationship conflict, which is sometimes it's happened in an organization, maybe love-hate relationship, or maybe you have romance in there, or maybe you have enemy from your childhood coming as your colleague, that kind of thing. It's actually an interpersonal relationship. And next is the process, is on how the work gets done lah. Okay, for example, you are from sales department. After sales, you're going to, after you get a sales, you're going to actually give the order of your customer to the finance department, but finance department is quite delayed, and also the process actually quite late, but the customer will actually angry with you lah, because you are the one who actually what you call it, face them. I mean, like the one who actually go to them and get them into your sales lah, kan? But the other person actually do the process getting lag or late, kind of thing. We have a loci or conflict, meaning that the focus, the locus, where does it come from, where the conflict occurs, why it happened. Okay, number 1 is where. This is actually talking about where. Okay, talking about where it happened. Okay, where does it happen, where it occur. Okay, and the loci, meaning where it occur actually. Alright, it can occur in dyadic conflict, which is the conflict in between two person. Okay, one person, another person. Intra-group conflict within a group of your team. Maybe you have a team in one department, maybe one department have several teams, so you are having conflict within your own team. And intergroup conflict is between groups or teams, for example, department by department, or maybe within a department you have several teams versus teams. Okay, so this is the group. And then out of conflict and this loci, there are another 3 types of this combination of conflict and loci. We have decision to act in given a way. Let me put here. So it's actually because of you have the intention to compete, sometimes to collab. When you want to have a collaboration, you also will have some sort, of conflict as well. Or maybe you want to avoid some people, and you want to accommodate some things, maybe your goals, your team's goals, and in terms of compromising as well lah. Compromise. Okay, so this is actually under the 3 types of this one, 1 to 3, 1 to 3 will actually to have an intention to compete. This is some sort of goals lah, why you have the conflict. Okay, next is the conflict process. So we go here. So the conflict process happens when you have problem in communication, or maybe some sort of structure given, not actually fair given task. Okay, and also personal variable, for example, like maybe you yourself have problem, or maybe greed, your own attitude. Okay, when you have this potential problem, you will have cognition or personalization. Some people they perceive, or maybe they feel, and also they can actually feel or perceive. Perceive is they think about that the person actually have other potential things, or maybe other ulterior motive. Felt, maybe you feel sad, and then you feel anger, so that kind of thing. Okay, stage 3, conflict and intention, competing, collaborating. This is actually stage 3. This one, because you want to have the intention of competing, or maybe you want to collaborating or compromising, or sometimes you want to avoid some people, or maybe accommodate something. Okay, so stage 4, behavior, overt conflict, whether it's actually the party's behavior, your team behavior, or maybe the other's reaction. Okay, and the outcome is whether that this conflict will increase group performance or will decrease. So it can actually be those two, and it actually doesn't all actually going to be negative lah. The conflict, sometimes conflict is actually good for the company performance. Okay, distributive and integrative bargaining is actually I can say that it's the same as negotiation lah. Okay, it's actually negotiation. When you have a conflict, you need to negotiate, okay, so that it actually can be solved, or maybe if you cannot solve it, it will be very, very difficult to solve it lah. Okay, so what is the distributive and integrative? Okay, for example, we have bargaining characteristic or negotiation characteristic is you want to focus on goals. Okay, you want to focus on goals. Okay, you want to focus on the goal of the team or the goal of the company. Okay, when you have distributive we call it distributive bargaining, you will try to get as much as possible. What kind of people can give to you, get as much as possible. Okay, but when it comes to integrative, you try to expand. For example, you want to try to expand as much as possible, as much as possible, so everyone can get the same thing. Okay, so this one like berebut lah. This one you have enough resources and everyone can get it. So this is how this is the what you call it, the bargaining characteristic. All right, sorry. This is the bargaining characteristic lah, okay, the negotiation characteristic. Okay, there are many other characteristics, for example, like motivation, okay, the things that you want to focus on, maybe focus or interest, information sharing, duration of relationship, and this one you can actually go to your slide. Just Alright, so next is negotiation steps. We have preparation and planning, definition, ground rules. You maybe a company can actually come up with a policy that you can actually follow. Clarification or justification why the company actually do the rules. For example, Malaysia actually have SOP. Suddenly want to lock down, so why there's a justification is because of the COVID case is actually increasing. Okay, bargaining and problem solving. Okay, and then you closure and implementation. So basically, when you have some sort of conflict inside the company, so you gotta have to test first, solve something first, and then you can implement for the future process lah of the company. Yeah. Okay, so conflict and negotiation also can be affected by individual differences of the employee. So one is gender. Even male and female also have problems sometimes. Maybe some people say that, you know, men get the higher up position, and women can get a very multitask position. That's actually different in terms of gender lah. Sometimes women can get sales position, something, but it depends on people lah. Okay, mood or emotion, it depends on the mood of the individual. If they have a good mood, so the negotiation would be ease. Their personality as well, whether they are maybe extrovert, introvert, or maybe attitude, and sometimes even culture. So in Malaysia, culture is different. We actually have a lot more, what we call it, not straight to the face, I mean straight to the point, but maybe other country have different way of doing things lah. Okay, and then if let's say we have conflict but we cannot solve it in our company by ourselves, third party negotiation is needed. Okay, so basically we have mediator. Mediator is a neutral third party who facilitate in a negotiated solution by using reasoning and persuasion. This person also will suggest alternative. Okay, so that is actually the mediator position lah. Okay, next one is arbitrator. Is a third party with authority, meaning maybe your boss, your manager. Okay, to actually have an agreement lah. Okay, so your boss will make, for example, you have two teams of sales. Okay, sales in one department, you have two teams of sales. They have conflict. They go towards their sales manager. Their sales manager will actually say, okay, I want this, I want that. So that's how it is. Conciliator is a trusted third party who give an informal communication link among parties. Okay, conciliator engage in fact findings, interpreting message, persuading disputants to develop agreement. So conciliator is actually quite different from mediator. Mediator will actually facilitate the argument. This one, the conciliator will give you a communication link lah. You're still like two different parties who have conflict still talking to each other, but they have conciliator to actually see the whole things of agreements lah. Okay, so that is the chapter number 18. So we have something to actually process on, especially when we see when we watch movie that is actually involving what you call it, workplace, for example, like the intern. There are many conflicts there, and sometimes it actually involve relationship, sometimes it involve tasks and process. So you can always relate to your life and also to your workplace experience. So that's all from me. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.